Hello there, I'm Mr GREES, and this is an introduction to Round the Horne. One day, when I was a teen, my mother put a tape on, and I was introduced to some of the funniest comedy I have ever experienced. It was Round the Horne, a BBC radio comedy programme, which began transmitting a weekly show in 1965, ending after 4 series in 1968. It starred Kenneth Horne, the show's namesake, Betty Marsden, Hugh Paddock, Bill Pertwee, who appeared from series 1 to 3, Kenneth Williams of the Carry On films, and the show's announcer was Douglas Smith. Each week the show would open with Smith telling a tale in which the cast portrayed comically out-of-place roles. For example, the young nubile belly dancer, played by young and nubile Kenneth Williams. This would lead to a climactic end where a hideous monster, deranged psychopath, or something of a similar nature would exclaim some terrifying sound or phrase, which would be, "Hello, my name's Kenneth Horne," said by a horn. The next scene would always be Horne talking about last week's competition, which was totally fictitious as the questions were never asked in the previous show. The winners had comical names and the answers were ridiculous. This was even done on the very first show. The rest of the program would be a mix of parody sketches, catchphrases, and many eccentric characters. A personal favourite of mine was the folk singer Rambling Sid Rumpo, played by Williams, who would sing songs that had many double entendres within it, usually because the song had many made-up words like nadgers and bogle. There was also, at times, a segment from Dame Celia Molestrangler, played by Betty Marsden, and Aging Juvenile Binky Huckaback, played by Hugh Paddock. It would usually involve the two in a romantic scene, playing what appeared to be young lovers, in which they would say, "I know. I know you know. I know you know I know. Yes, I know." This would conclude with Betty asking Hugh for another pint of milk next week, as he was her milkman making his rounds, or other such situations. By far the best part was Julian and Sandy, played by Kenneth Williams and Hugh Paddock, as two exceptionally camp out-of-work actors, who would usually encounter Horne as employees of an establishment he was visiting that episode, for example, a bookstore. Throughout these sketches, Williams and Paddock would put on camp voices and speak in the gay slang of Polari. They would end up having a conversation based around the subject of why they were working in said employment that week, which would usually lead Horne to say something bold, which resulted in the other two exclaiming one of their many catchphrases. "Ooh, isn't he bold? Ain't he bold? Oh, isn't he bold? Hasn't got a hair on his head, ducky." Occasionally there would be a musical interlude by the Fraser Hayes Four, an English close harmony vocal group made up of 2 constant members, Jimmy Fraser and Tony Hayes, while the girl lead and bass voice would periodically change. Each show would come to an end with Kenneth Horne thanking the audience for listening and hoping to see them next week. Then the show's band would play them out. I know the humour is dated and some might have difficulty understanding some of the terminology, but fans of Carry On films will love to hear Kenneth Williams' snarky lines. It's a shame some of Britain's funniest comedy may never be heard by today's youth because of its outdated format and slang, but if I can help it, people will see this review, talk about it, and get listening to their radios, or download it to their MP3 players. To this day, Round the Horne is repeated on BBC Radio 4 Extra, a digital radio channel. It is also available to buy and download online. One only needs to have a quick varder, ducky.